It's Shapes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest. We're going with the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this past 2 weeks from the 29th of May to the 9th of June. 69. I'm recording on Sunday because I don't think I'll have time on Monday. I'm not sure. I also don't know if I'm going to be doing Digest this summer or not. We'll get there when we get there. My future generally is kind of up in the air right now. We'll find out tomorrow, maybe? I have no idea. It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry. But first we're going to start with some reaction videos. I am recording this time. Yes. It's more janken. He uploads every day. They upload every other week. And like, what am I gonna do? I was like, I should lay off the jank. I really, really should. But they uploaded 2 AMVs on Manga Sekai. Both have 2 episodes of which I've made AMVs for. And like no one else does this show. I of course I want to tune in and I want to check this out. Oh my god. I'm even further jealous. I was like, yeah, that shot. I'm just going to be that exact same reaction. So, yeah, here we go. I'm not familiar with this song, but I think it's great. So far, it's acting chronological. But if you've never seen this episode, then that's fine. If you didn't know, this was directed by Osamu Dezaki. You could probably tell. Yeah, that's just a summation of the episode. But that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I want to check out the other one real quick because I get vibes it's going to be similar. But yeah, that was pretty chronological. And nothing super fancy or even in the editing really. It was just, again, exposing you to the media or kind of encapsulating it almost. And I just like that a lot. I know I'm a broken record with this, and I really do want to make more like this with the anime that I've seen, because I want to kind of like remind myself almost, because I don't want to get into a situation in my fandom a couple years from now where I'm like, yeah, I remember liking that. I don't remember it at all, as if like I hadn't seen it, you know. And there's already some anime like that for me, specifically the seasonals from like the seasonals from fucking 2016, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like a lot of those are just like, and I just get vibes. I'm like, that's a good one. And that can't be helped, I guess. But it would be nice to be able to kind of revisit a video that I made compiling kind of like my favorite moments or things that get me to remember it. Specifically, when I was just thinking, my Urusei Yatsura video does exactly that. It's 195 episodes, and I could just remember certain characters and stuff, or maybe Beautiful Dreamer, even though I'm middling on that. I'm kind of torn on that movie. The fact that I can remember certain and go back to that video and find those episodes and know what those were, and then also it's like a clip show of why I love those episodes so much on a visual basis. That's great. That's what I want to do for a lot of my other stuff, as well as the Ninku style videos where you just get the show. Certain series I just finished that I was not anticipating on making a video about. I finished it like 2 days yesterday, actually. I think it was yesterday. Man, am I. And I don't think that anime, maybe I have to look, but I don't think that has gotten the proper dissection, is what I want to call it. I don't think people have really autopsied that one. I don't think so. But enough about that. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that before I moved on and everything. And I'm like, that was nice. I just want to give some observation. Anyway, this one's Metzen Gerstein. Is that the I believe this is a Hungarian story. So it's Flaming Horse is the name of this episode that I'm aware of. But maybe that's the original name, because I believe it's a Hungarian story or one of the specific one. I don't remember. Anyway, this also looks chronological. This is the first couple shots. So this one was directed by Osamu Dezaki as well, but pretty much everything else, designs, animation, backgrounds, Yoshiaki Kawajiri. This one has more synchronicity to it. I really like. At least the synchronicity I can tell. There was probably synchronicity in the other one. Yeah, it's another summation video, but that's great. Love seeing this in animation besides just like screen caps. Because you get shots like this that you wouldn't be able to get in one screen cap, basically, without stitching. That's great sync. Oh my god. That's like perfect sync, actually. Oh, that was so good. Yeah, that was fantastic. Especially just like, okay, just like OST, the Girl Without Hands OST. Gorgeous. I think I can't even. No, I have a couple, like at least the in my some rap AMV some AMV collabs. I think is the actual title of my Manga Sekai AMVs. There was one that we couldn't use Earl's rapping because it would just block the video no matter what we did. So we used the instrumental of that track. And there was that one, and then I was commissioned by Yellow Cheese to make an Inaka Isha one AMV, and that one used an instrumental song, so there's no lyrics. Other than that, I pretty much only do like AMVs with lyrics, and not out of a like, yeah, or not out of a I guess it's just a bias, I guess, but it's more just that's what you do. But like this is awesome. Like I would love to do more of that with like finding certain tracks and stuff, probably setting them to maybe finding like a specific OST from the anime, and then set it like my favorite OST from that, and then making an AMV of that show to that OST as a small little bite size, again like this where it's just 2 minutes or like 90 seconds or something. That would be vibes, and I wouldn't feel too bad about them not getting a ton of views or something. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. I would love that so much. Yeah, might pivot. I don't know. Feeling cute. Might pivot later. Yeah. Anyway, and that's not all. It is another APLattanzi AMV. I reacted to the last one. I'm going to react to this one. I'm a predictable man. What can you say? What can I say? This is the best of everything. Macros Do You Remember Love? Let's get it. Bold start. Is this literally what I was just saying? Is this OST from Macros? No, it's Johnny Mathis. I'm a dummy. Okay. It fits that perfectly. It really does. It just matches like a glove. It fits like a glove. Matches like a glove. What the fuck? I can't believe how good this fits. I'm gobsmacked. I haven't heard this song yet, really. Yeah, I remember that relationship, Max and the Zentradi. Is it Zentradi? Oh my god, am I thinking of a different race? It's been so long since I've seen Macros. It's been like, ooh, almost 10 years. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god. Lin Min Mei was one of my favorite female characters for so long, and I think she fell out of favor for me because she didn't win. It made sense with the character, but she didn't win. Ooh, I like that match. Yeah. The wipe and the yeah. No. Ooh, I like that. Oh, we're moving into a different phase? No, that was the end of it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I was lost in that. I'd like that go on for another 8 minutes. Jeesh. And is this grayscale from footage from the show? Like, it's been so long since I saw Do You Remember Love, but like that looks so much like Gunbuster episode 6. And I don't remember if that's like it is from the movie or what. That's gorgeous otherwise. Man, that was great. I don't want to say state the obvious, but like really the like centering on the relationships of the series, in particular with the movie and the way it kind of cycles through all of them. I don't remember at what point I saw Do You Remember Love after I saw the original TV series. My impression of the movie was always like the show is better. Which, like, yeah, no shit. Not a helpful opinion, really, or just like not an interesting opinion. Not that I need like validated by like my opinion's boring or whatever. It is though, Like I wish I had. I don't know. I wish I liked this movie more. I do. I think I don't remember what I have it rated as, but like. I do remember feeling kind of like down on it compared to the show, I guess. But I feel like if I watched it now, I'd be like, man, it's goated. What can I say? Yeah, that was lovely. The soundtrack was the song choice was perfect. Really, I can't believe that. I'm so like corny. And maybe I shouldn't be self-deprecating about myself, but I feel like my choices are always so corny in like really on the nose, kind of like normal sounding songs, but then set to, things people have made AMVs for. Not like, obviously people have made macros Do You Remember Love AMVs, but like, man, I don't know. I don't feel as creative in my choices in light of ones like these where it just feels so fucking inspired. I've been talking just to check. Yeah, I gave it a good. I still enjoyed it. That's good. You know what it may have also been? Which is like, I had I had seen the Supervisor AMV. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. And I thought that was like from the movie. I thought that was like, yeah, it's 15 million views on that one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a Do You Remember Love AMV. And like, I was disappointed in finding out that the scene at the end was during the credits. I thought that would happen during the movie. And then also finding out that Supervisor is a Christmas, or like the song that Supervisor is using is a Christmas song. I felt very betrayed by that. I really shouldn't, but yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm gonna stop being so blue now and go back to normal. Let's kick off with a video that I thought it was not good. I don't be too mean about it. I predicate every time I'm too nice, but every time I'm not nice, I feel like I go way too hard. I'm sorry whenever I do that. Ayaku Web. I feel like I've talked about one of their videos before. But I saw this, like the decline of the OVA, brief history of OVAs. And I'm happy they kind of like added this brief history part, because that's really what it is. It's kind of explaining what OVAs are, and then a little bit of it's a good chunk of it is about Dalos, and that's fine, and that makes sense. And I had been perked up a little bit, meant that they mentioned Green Cat, because when you dig into the first OVA conversation, that one does come up and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, they know their shit. But then they don't mention, not like you need a full history or whatever, but like, because it's brief. But they rattle off a couple other OVAs, and they don't say anything about, they don't seem to know Birth or Radio City Fantasy, which could have arguably been the first OVA, and Dallas was just what came out first. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of beat them to the punch, but Birth and Radio City Fantasy were being made very, very close together. with Dallos, and I don't know. But like, I don't know, talking more about like engaging with some of them more directly. There's some videos in this digest that kind of link together in ways that like, yes, I want that much. This has not enough, and this has too much of certain thing, where like it's a subject and you're rattling off a bunch of titles, and it's how you address those titles. Do you touch on them for a particular reason, and how much are you covering? Is it a section on this show, really? Or are you just name dropping it? This one feels like this, besides Dallos, pretty much is name dropping things. And it didn't have like a progressive type of thing, and it didn't feel like it covered the actual fall of OVAs in the thumbnail and in the actual title, decline of the OVA. Like, just the idea that it didn't decline so much as it transferred and evolved into being original net animations, being more online or on mobile phones and things like that. Going straight to streaming, I would argue, is no different from not going on television, which has certain regulations, or not going on in theaters, which has its own yada yada yada. Not that like not that the Netflix shows are completely, they're not like in the same line of OVAs of being like no rules. There's no rules, you know? And some of them do end up airing on television anyway, and they're just kind of exclusively on Netflix in terms of streaming. But in other cases, not so much, like Pluto. Pluto being varying lengths. Part of the reason, I think, advantages of OVAs, one of them, is that it wasn't restricted not just in a censorship way, but in a format way. The episode didn't have to be exactly 20 minutes or in a particular length to fit commercials. It didn't have to have an eye catch, whatever. And what was interesting about OVAs is that despite not needing an eye catch, they still put one in. And I guess it was, I don't know the precise reason for it, but like Gunbuster has an eye catch in it. Why? And I don't remember if Clements has explained it or if it's written elsewhere or whatever. But they format it this way because there's a possibility it could be on TV later in like a limited capacity, as I believe some OVAs have been aired on television. Things like that, or like just the amount of porn that got made after OVAs became a thing, because there really wasn't much pornographic anime before the OVA because you couldn't really air that on television, right? Or in theaters, really. That's why it kind of goes that way. And it doesn't really touch on that either. So I just found this kind of lacking. And I know it's brief. I know it's supposed to be like, it's not trying to be decline, whatever. But like, when you're branding it as like, why do we not have more OVAs anymore? I don't feel like it got to that reason necessarily. So, and not to mention, it is the, and I always feel like being a dick when I feel like I'm a dick whenever I point this out or whatever, but like the editing here, the video craft here was kind of sloppy. There was some, like there wasn't a lot of syncopation in terms of like what the next sentence of things you're showing, really. There's some big split frames. By split frame, I mean like you plopped in the clip of and it was the previous shot, kind of bled into it, and yeah, it just didn't look great as a video either. So I hate to be harsh about this, but I was disappointed in this one because I think it's a great topic, and I think it's interesting, and it seems to be doing pretty okay given their size. I'd kill for 6.2K in 5 days. All right, enough of some videos I thought were decent. They're pretty good. RDC World game show. Did we just create the best new game show? They call it Gatekeep. I had pretty high expectations with this, and I'm pretty simmered. I still enjoyed it as an entertainment, but the patrons know this, and I'm sorry I totally dropped it as an idea. It is what it is when you do this stuff, I guess. But creative endeavors. But I've been developing my own kind of like game show, kind of like this, and I like that. So like what I enjoyed about it was that it was in person. I think that the production of it is pretty legit. and I hope that this does well enough for them they can continue it and try to keep using the set a little bit, because they have a whole set and like a gate and everything. It's pretty minimalistic. It's not super over the top or something. But there's like 4 or 5 camera angles, like, which is pretty incredible, and I think the editor did a good job shuffling that around and everything. And yeah, but the format of the game, I think people enjoy it because it was very, very simple. And there's not as much like strategy to it. It's a very simplistic game where for the 4 players have to physically advance 1 square on a board closer and closer to a gate, but really it's just gaining points or losing points at the end of the day. Like, but they go forward 1 square or go back 2 squares, things like that, and skipping turns, things like that. But like, you could do this kind of sitting down, and they just gain points or lose points in that way. So the physical aspect and the set, I think, kind of amplified it to make it seem more compelling than it was. It was also a good visual reminder, because there's someone who's physically ahead instead of like, well, this person's behind, and they didn't even have to like do any numbers or anything like that, which probably helped with the editing as well. Even though, there's probably plenty of editing work still, because you have multiple camera angles and you're showing the question on screen. The questions and the content in particular, it's just Avatar: The Last Airbender. They are just Avatar questions, and they're very kind of random trivia, like, what was the name of the first episode? Who is this person that did this, or whatever. And the 4 players have all seen Avatar at least, and that's a prerequisite. So they're kind of limited in this format. They're kind of limited to what are the things all 4, or really 5 of them have seen. I guess the host doesn't necessarily need to know these answers and everything, but still. But as someone who I've watched Avatar through osmosis mostly, but I haven't really watched from episode 1 all the way through. I've not done a dedicated watch of it myself. But I'm familiar with it enough. I kind of know a lot of the plot beats. But heck, I was similar with One Piece, so, and I love the shit out of that. So maybe it would surprise me. We'll see when I get to it at some point. But so I was kind of left out of that. If you have not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the questions are like, oh, I know it kind of thing. There's an alienation of the audience, I guess. Whereas other game shows, it's either general, any sort of topic, or it's a skill, like spelling or something, filling out a puzzle that any viewer at home can participate and solve. So it's a weekend audience experience. But the contestants did a great job of like just being entertaining, I guess, and just especially the bickering that happened with the mechanic of stealing an answer from the other person, because they've settled in on having to say steal, and the first person that says steal, the host is like, oh, and you get a chance or whatever. So that led to a lot of bickering and quarreling. I think that led to good entertainment in the video, but it doesn't necessarily from a game design perspective. Like, it's nice they were recording it, and there was one instance where they did a replay just for the audience, really, that this person said the thing first, but it caused a lot of unnecessary strife for the other person who thought they said it first, right? And that sort of thing, that game element, I think there could be a different system for that. I liked the idea of, if you got it wrong, if you said steal and got it wrong, the consequence is that your own turn gets skipped. I thought that was good. Although there could have been a visual representation of that on screen somehow in some kind of UI, some kind of penalty, just to show that the person's skipping. Because after a while, after maybe 10 minutes of kind of going through the rounds a bunch, you forget like this is every third round there's a speed round, or this person's turn has been skipped, or this whatever. Like, a lot of the keeping track of in the game, you lose track of it, really. So there could be more of a interface maybe on screen or something. Not so much for the players, because they're just present and they're just focused on answering the questions. But yeah. But then, yeah, like the gatekeep aspect of it, calling it gatekeep is a actually kind of cool colloquial name. It reminds me of calling their podcast Trash Taste. You know, it kind of gave me that like vibe of like, we're going to take a common community buzzword and turn it into a thing, you know? But the gatekeeping aspect only applied to the end, which has this kind of cute little, you know, physical thing at the end where they get to step through the gate and then close the gate behind them, and everyone's like, oh, let me in, whatever. And like, you know, it's like, it's fun. Like the gatekeeping is kind of embraced almost, but that's it. It doesn't have it. The actual concept has nothing to do with what the contestants are doing, which are just answering trivia questions, taking turns, you know? There is some like battle mechanic as well, but that one seemed kind of like half-hearted and weak almost. I don't know, there was some kind of sloppy about it for me personally. I couldn't put my finger on it really. I think the mechanics were fine, but just the way it's implemented, like you can only do it with the person if you're tied with them or in the same spot. I don't know. But yeah, I think there's room for improvement in the mechanics of the game. But of course, yeah, and I agree with one of the commenters at the bottom where they were like, the next time they play this, the person who just won should be the host. I think that's totally fair and kind of leans into, you know, the appeal of winning it, I guess, because they don't really get much else otherwise in terms of, you know, prizes or something. Which there should be some kind of incentive. That's something that my game was missing. I just had to go set the pride and accomplishment, especially, well, really at the time I'm just doing a demo. We're just like play testing it. But I do think there should be some kind of reward at the end, an incentive to actually play the game to begin with. Besides just you win. You know what I mean? I mean, games don't necessarily need that. Like the winning is the fun part. is the reward. But in terms of game shows, right? I feel like a game show like on television without a prize at the end is just sports. Right? It's kind of like that almost. Anyway, gave me food for thought. It was interesting and entertaining, and yeah. Inakyu's back for a little break. I found the best anime in this century. She just basically does that collage that people post on Twitter of like best anime of this many years. I just made that a video. Yeah, no, that's totally brilliant, really. Yeah, of course. And I wrote them down, and I also ended up, just because, why not? I'll be quick about this. I'm not gonna make this my own. I'm gonna steal it, but I'm gonna. I thought I'd give you mine, and my challenge was I would do the same rules that Inakyu did, which was I can choose two. Some of them have two, some of them have one. I'm like, okay, movies count, because she did put Mind Game for 2004. But everything else was a TV series, so I was like, okay, so, and OVAs for Fooly Cooly, at least one, but everything else, okay. And then yeah, it was from 2000 to 2024. For 2000, I chose Brigadoon and Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. They're kind of tied for me. Fruits Basket. I will say for each of these, Ina, I like that there was some variety in what she said about each of them. It doesn't go into that much detail because she wanted to keep it less than 20 minutes, but had to go through kind of a lot. So I thought the pace of the video was ultimately sound and good. But I think some entries were better than others in terms of what she had to say about them or what she featured about them. Like, kind of more memorable than others, I guess. Or interesting picks. Like 2001 Fruits Basket, it completely, like, one ear out the other in terms of what you had to say about it. But then why you chose Naruto / Full Moon was really cool. Of like your reason for Full Moon, of like the reason I got into manga, basically. Which I have to correct. I have to say, I don't correct, I guess maybe the word for it, I guess. Full Moon is definitely a complete story. It's not a read the manga ending. The manga is completely different. The anime went in a completely different direction, like almost kind of like a Full Metal Alchemist almost. Not to say it's filler or anything. It is literally just a different story, and the manga does this. It just does a different thing. I'm surprised you called it like, this is not a... I had to read the manga to find out what it... because it doesn't have an ending, or I don't remember specifically what you said. I was like, what? That's a great ending. What are you talking about? Anyway, for the 2001, I said Hikaru no Go / Crayon Shinchan Movie 9. And for 2002, I did Ojamaja Doremi Dokkan and Princess Tutu. I also, just for my personal, and I think you kind of, without saying it really, adhered to this in the list where there was no repeats, or like, second seasons or something like that. So I did one season of Ojamaja Doremi and I did the Dokkan, but / Princess Tutu. 2003, I had Wolf's Rain and I had Gungrave. 2004, Mind Game, and I did Monster / Fantastic Children. I was also trying to choose anime that you didn't rattle off a lot. There was a lot. I was like, I could have chosen this, or this, but I went with this and type of thing, just to kind of appease. Maybe it felt like there was an appeasing of the audience. We're like, what about this show or whatever? Even though there may be a likelihood you haven't seen it, and like that would have been okay. I didn't like checking your mail or something about like the ones you rattled off if you had seen them or not. I didn't really like whatever. And there's no, it's your opinion, so it's none of these like that show's bad. Like, I'm not, what? But it was interesting you admit that Mushishi was the only anime you've seen from 2005, which is totally fair. It was interesting where doing in my own list, there are like stronger years and weaker years. Like 04 is ridiculous. 06, 7 are ridiculous, but then 9 and 10 are like really slim, or like 05. So like I definitely said Mushishi as well. And I actually also put in One Piece movie 6, just to throw that in there. I could have said One Piece for any of these years because it ran for all of them. I agree with Oran with 2006. I loved the like, I could have chosen all these goats. I'm going with that one. I'm like, yeah, because that's in my top 10. And just, I would have chosen Oran as well, but just to give one that's not one that you mentioned, Kimono Zume came out in 2006. That is Yuasa's first TV series. You do mention that I know, whatever, like whatever. Yuasa's first. I am actually, but it wasn't his first anime. This is his first anime movie first anime he directed, solo and everything. His directorial debut of sorts, I believe. I could even be wrong about it. It's definitely his first movie, but like, he had a major hand in Cat Soup, and then he obviously worked on Crayon Shinchan for a long time. But anyway, I digress. But I ended up choosing that Kimono Zume, which was his first TV series that he directed, and Ergo Proxy as well. 2007, Gurren Lagann Shore, of course. I went with Kaiji because that's in my top 10. Soul Eater, Vampire Knight, and again, it's like certain ones, things you had to say about like Death Parade and Beastars, I guess. There were certain ones where I'm like, there doesn't seem to be as personal of a reason as much as it's just like, it's great, check it out with Mob Psycho or whatever. I'm like, it's great, watch it. It's like, yep, okay. Or like an excuse to talk about this one. But Vampire Knight was cool to see. That stood out more than the Soul Eater part for that reason, I think. For me, I did Tentai Senshi Sunred, which is in my top 10, and Black Butler. To complement your pick of Vampire Knight, and not that I think Black Butler is like a guilty pleasure or bad or something. It really was like my all-time favorite anime for a while, and I just found better stuff. But it's good. I like it. I gotta rewatch it for sure, and get really disappointed and be like, man, because I've since seen a lot more. Anyway, more than 50. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood for 2009, and again, it was sort of like okay. There were no bad picks. There was just boring picks, and that's not a bad thing. I think it is what it is. And then it's like, that's what I've seen in that year, and I'm like, okay. And I guess there was actually nothing in 2009 besides the second season of Sunred that I gave like a grade, like my best rating to. So the one after that, I would probably I didn't give like an amazing rating to, but I liked it. It was Aoi Bungaku, really, really cool. The whole thing, not just the first 4 episodes, which is the adaptation of No Longer Human that everyone recommends. Anyway, Angel Beats for 10. I went with Princess Jellyfish. I haven't seen Angel Beats yet. You went with Hunter x Hunter / Anohana. Pretty diplomatic divide, because there's a lot of stuff in 2011. I actually went with Horu Musko because for some reason, actually, a lot of the 2011 juggernauts, like even just like Steins Gate, I was very not enthused with. I mean, Hunter x Hunter was definitely one of my favorites for a while, but whole thing. Horu Musko, though, that is what I went with. Kami-sama Kiss in 2012. I really want Hayden to make a video on that. I want you to make a video on that, although I know it's like it's gonna stink in terms of like bombing on the algorithm. Like it feels like a lot of people want to talk about Kami-sama Kiss, and no one wants to actually pull the trigger on it because YouTube. Oh, what fun! Love this place. Anyway, maybe that's not the reason. I'm sorry. I'm just putting whatever. But Space Battleship Yamato 2199 was my 2012 pick. Free/Kill la Kill. Yeah, that's fair. I went with Wind Rises as well as Eccentric Family. Yeah, banger. Your Lie in April for 2014. I haven't seen it yet. I went with Ping Pong the Animation. More Yuasa, I know. If I had to not pick another Yuasa, Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis for 2014. 2015, again, Death Parade. It's really just because I'm mid on Death Parade and everyone else loves it to death, and it's like apparently the only anime that came out in 2015, which is not a great year. Not a great year. It had some stuff, but I mean, yeah, it had stuff, but but I went with Yurikuma Arashi / Aoharu X Kakanju. I love it. Shut up. Oron with guns. Shut up. 2016 made Mob Psycho. I went with Shogun Roku Rakugo Shinju. Elitist pick. I could have went with Tonkatsu DJ Agataro or Gundam Thunderbolt, but I ended up doing a Gundam later for later. Made in Abyss of 2017. I would have picked that too, but Mahojin Guru also came out that year, and that's kind of my thing. That's my show. That's the one I stand. That's I get ownership of that one. Just kidding. Place for in the Universe. I still haven't seen it. I don't know why. I really should. I don't know. There's a lot of shows from this period from 2018 to 24 because this is when I stopped watching seasonals for the most part. So but I went with Devilman Crybaby / Megalobox. I feel like I had to put it. I like Crybaby a heck of a lot more, but I feel like I had to put Megalobox in because it's, the thing that I spent a lot of time thinking about that year. Beastars for 2019. I almost didn't have something for this, but then Ongaku R Sound technically came out in the fall of 2019, even though most of us saw it in 2020 or 2021. I don't care. 2019. JJK for 2020. Again, still haven't seen JJK. Waiting for it to be done, really, but I'm being spoiled to most of it anyway. Whatever. Majo Mirai Osaga Shite was my 2020 pick. I have very few anime from that year. Makes sense because it's a COVID year. It's COVID. 2021 Ranking of Kings. Heike Monogatari for me. Definitely check. I don't know if you've checked that out. Oh my god. Science Saru. Naoko Yamada. Say less. Bocchi the Rock for 2022. I liked it. I liked it a good deal. I went with Gundam Witch for Mercury because I was obsessed. Loved it. 2023 Heavenly Delusion. I also haven't seen that one, and again, it's because it's manga thing, and I feel like it's gonna keep going or whatever. But I get made the best vibes in terms of just like promising, kind of off the radar, not super mainstream, but really, really, really good manga adaptation of something. I get vibes. And then I went with 2033 Pluto / Onimai. I didn't want to just put Onimai, but I also didn't want to just put Pluto. So there you go. That's it. And then 2024, I deadass have not seen a single anime from 2024 yet. And I mean, you didn't really put one from that year either. Freyrin and Apothecary Diaries are both from 2023. They just finished airing in 2024, their second halves. So I get it though. I haven't seen any. So my answer was Look Back, which is coming out this month, which is probably going to destroy me. Yeah, and as will us all be destroyed by Kino. Yeah, but it was just a fun interactive video. I should mention the editing was crazy. Some of the masking fun you did, like woohoo, like it got a little chaotic at points. It got a little wonky. But I like ambitious stuff. I like the swings. It's good. It's really good. Yeah, I really like this video. It was fun. I don't remember the last time I talked about a Mother's Basement video. Maybe not that long ago. Sorry. Goated anime you can't watch anymore. It's only indecent, really, because like I was actually expecting a lot more from this, because I think it's a very hot button issue, a very important issue that I care about a lot, and my patrons were talking about it, and I saw like more buzz about it than normal for anime YouTube videos. But it is just kind of just like making a video about the list that came out that like all the shows that Funny didn't bring over to Crunchyroll. And there's some titles on here that he was like, yeah, you could watch it through like Hulu or whatever. So the title's a little misleading. FMA03, he's right. That's gone. But these other ones, he kind of like had to find, like he had a really good chain of like FMA03, Arslan, Silver Spoon, all Arakawa, and then going from Silver Spoon to Baby Steps was a really good idea. But then around that point, the other shows he was mentioning, like Eureka, which he spoiled because he showed a shot of Eureka as being representative of this topic, but then when he got to Eureka, it was like a big it was edited as if it was like a big shock or something. So, but he kind of undermined that point earlier in the video just as a thing. But then like Outlaw Star and some of these other things and Escaflowne, and like they're harder to find, and I think the argument is fair and still stands for the most part, but it's not like, and he didn't even like, he kind of just gave up about like Baccano, because that's been years since that's been the case. But there's a lot of shows like that for sure, and I was surprised that he didn't specifically mention the anime that are on Crunchyroll right now that have not gotten a physical release yet. I think he pretty much brings that up, but he doesn't regard physical media at all. He just was like, oh, $60 for anime the person hasn't even seen yet. Like completely disregarding and obviously I'm a little sensitive to that because I work in that industry, but like that's really important work that we're doing, putting it on physical media in the best condition possible. For an entire hour-long video that I've made about talking about it. And I mean, I was just not very impressed with his argument at the end of the day. Like by the end of it being like torrenting being the only media preservation thing, like, oh, because the DVDs are going to degrade. What's going to be like sooner? The DVD degrading or the torrent not being seeded? I'm gonna wager the torrent. Sorry. Like, no. You're right about the DVD being, whatever, but like, come on. Anyway. I just was kind of like let down by it, even though there's competency here. And to chain up the first video I talked about, that was the not good, I feel like it didn't engage with the subject directly. I feel like Jeff kind of engaged with it a little too much in terms of when he brought up an anime, he's justifying why it's goated. Like, I think it should speak for itself. I don't know why you're like the way he described O3 was appreciated, especially, and he doesn't even broach the subject that much about like maybe the fact that we're not getting O3 is because of this hard push towards Brotherhood for so long. So now the original is like literally not even available anymore because the market has been sucked completely to Brotherhood, which is okay. I'm gonna be looking for but that's shitty. That's kind of shitty. But he doesn't really. It seems that way to me, but he doesn't really make that argument so much in the video itself. Not that he had to, but it got me thinking of that, and I'm just like, huh. And it's like whenever a video has me thinking about something separate rather than being completely immersed in it, like some of these other videos and stuff. You know, like obviously I can have banter with it, almost being like, oh, I have these other ideas, whatever. But when it feels like I come up with something that like this should probably be in there, and then it feels incomplete and as a video creator. Yeah, I don't know. It weakens the video a bit more for me, but maybe that's it. And, you know, honestly, I'm looking at it more. The thumbnail basically is that like Crunchyroll is prioritizing Brotherhood over 03. But it doesn't make that argument specifically because he kind of sets it apart. Like, oh, maybe I'll make that a separate video. And it's a non sequitur, but it reminds me, towards the end of this video, he has this really great nail. Like, he really nails it in terms of like, we've got to do this and do this about torrenting or whatever, and like making this Bible thumping almost kind of statement about it. But then like he very awkwardly and timidly plugs his other podcast talking about he's changed his opinion about torrenting on his second channel. I think we also have vlogs, you know, some podcasts. We just moved to Japan and we might be doing some stuff there on the second channel, and like this topic's too important. I'll get a regular video next week, guys. I don't know. I got weird. The confidence totally like, because it was weird. That was a weird vibe to end the video on for me. Yeah, I just was kind of let down by it personally, but yeah, it is what it is. Okay, now with the best videos of the week. I didn't go and put it right in the mic because it would crack it. And then I thought they were the best videos of the week. That's how strongly I felt about it. I just want to shout out 2 videos right away that I'm in. First is on BestGuyEver's channel. I was at a convention panel with him talking about One Piece, the legacy and future. Nearly 40 minutes there. We went over time. Sorry, I keep like bringing that up over it. Whatever. Yeah. So like it was part us just talking with each other, talking about our perspective on things, a little history lesson I came up with at the beginning, but also interacting with the audience. We had a full house at our panel, which was really nice. Engaging with the audience directly, who came up with mic and et cetera, et cetera. It was a good time. I hope you check it out. And if you want to check it out right after that, Nate and myself talked for another 2 hours with Jacka's Boy on Pissed Pirates, which came out a little late. I'm sorry, bro. I don't pressure Jack ever about, like, I edit the podcast and then he uploads it, makes the thumbnail and everything. And I never want to, like, you do your thing, man. And I don't rush because he's got way more successful YouTube channel than fucking 600. The little channel of 600 subs that posts a podcast every couple of months, you know, like it's tiny. Okay, we've been doing it for 2 years. It's been kind of a while. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, but so I don't ever want to be like, come on, Jack. But whatever. It was just funny. But yeah, we talk more about One Piece, as you do, as one does. Yeah. Enjoyed that. Finally having Nate on. It was a lovely time. So check that out if you guys would like to. Merphy Napier, worst written women, the defense of Naruto women. Thank you for mentioning Chiyo Basan, like the second part. Like, she says Tsunade first, and then Chiyo Basan. I'm like, yeah, now we know. Yeah, we know what we're talking about. Yeah, that was just refreshing. But yeah, engaging with this common argument and toxic discussion, not really calling any particular names out, or pulling up receipts or something. Just a discussion of this conceit, a sentiment that a lot of people have, and engaging with it on fair terms, not a complete defense, not like a complete Stonewall. No, they're all great. She has her qualms with some characters. I could tell she's not very hot on Hinata, which is unfortunate. That's okay. I made a whole I made like a 40-minute video on why she's the best girl in the show. But anyway, probably for a main reason, for a couple of reasons that that Merphy wouldn't be privy to because she read the manga. Not that that's an inferior way of experiencing the story or anything. I think it's a fantastic manga. It's just I went with the anime, and I really, really liked the anime. Naruto Shippuden episode 166. Watch it. Check it out. Holy shit. Also, Naruto Shippuden episode 480, which is anime original, completely not in the manga, but it's not just good Hinata content, very good Naruto content as a child. Anime original, you won't regret it. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah, but like really fair argument, really like frank and everything, and engaging not just in Naruto specifically, but broader when they say a woman isn't well written because she's a healer. It's like, what? And defending all that and everything. While again, not being a complete defense and, you know, really taking a shit on Karin every chance she gets. Which is funny. I think it was the same case with Caribou, not me, in One Piece. Not that I'm called that. Some people call me that, but it makes sense because it's my channel name, and I probably shouldn't be my channel name because nobody can fucking spell it. Anyway, yeah, her ire with Caribou in One Piece is really funny. Anyway, yeah, just good at that sort of thing. Just the right kind of punches, but not without being too excessive, I guess. Yeah, I think this is a great video. Well read in terms of, like, I only read it once, said that a couple of times, but all of the examples she's pulling up and the panels and everything, and some anime clips, but in terms of the clip, I could tell it's like from an arm's length, like I'm not engaged with this at all, and like, yeah, this is the episode where it happens sort of thing. And that's okay, it's not a big deal, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was really well constructed and everything for this kind of video that she has. This style, I think, is really it just suits great, and this is likely what she's done for years with her books and everything, about, like, you know, there's the notes and the structure of what she wants to say, but it feels very unscripted in that format, and I think that works really well. Anyway, yeah, I really liked it. STEVEM, after a long time, I mean, he had uploaded his the Tree of Palm video a while ago, and that did pretty well for a Tree of Palm video. I'll take that's awesome. And I really should get around to it because I really appreciate Nakamura as a director. I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know why. But this Rise and Fall of Cyberpunk anime, it is like very similar to the OVA video at the beginning of this, but it has what I'm saying, which is the full context, really covering all of the bases, mentioning them in a even-handed amount. It's not too much like Jeff, where he's going into, like, this is why this show is so good, or whatever. Steven doesn't really, like, dabble in it. Like, he kind of, like, proves it with the sales numbers, but really is more focused on describing it and why it is worth bringing it up in a historical context in this analysis, which is what we're doing here. And all three of these videos are analysis videos, technically, and the actual analysis is happening. Thank you. With the same sort of style, charisma, and thoroughness that STEVEM has with all of his videos. And he just continue. It really is. I don't know if I've worded it this way with his vids, but I realized in this one that, like, he really kind of matured into a YouTuber, almost. His videos for a long time, like, I've watched his videos since, like, the Toei month things. He's had, like, I've always believed him being a guy who makes videos, a YouTuber, right? But there was something about this one that's like, I've made a lot of these. Let's go. And there's a palpable experience almost to this more that maybe it's not too different from his other videos in terms of delivery or anything like that. I don't know. There's just something about this one that was just like, yeah, he's covered these similar grounds a lot. Like Cyberpunk has kind of come up in his other vids in terms of talking about studios or directors or whatever, but not like it's felt like repeated ground. It feels like reinforced ground. You know what I mean? And that's so encouraging to see from a creator, that it's not like he's out of ideas or running his course or something like that. Yeah, it's just really solid. I just think it's great. I just think it's neat. Yeah. Yeah, and the conclusions and everything, and the actual description, without making any definitive big statements or sweeping whatever. I think it was just really apt observations and quotes, and everything's backed up and great, airtight, fantastic. All right, so I genuinely don't remember where this video came from. If it was like recommended to me from the homepage or I saw it on Twitter, I don't think it was in. I checked my Discord. I don't think it was in there. I don't know how this got in my watch later, but thank God it did. I ended up cycling through a couple of videos and I wasn't really getting any, and it was rough. This video made me realize it's because this discouragement that I've been having about YouTube. I think it's just because I've not been watching good enough videos. To the point where like I'm not jealous at all of the guy's only uploaded like 8 videos in 2 years, and he's already at like 60K, and this video is doing great, but it doesn't matter because he completely deserves it. And I'm not like other people deserve their success and everything to varying degrees, you know what I mean? To within reason, I guess. But this was first where I could completely, there was no, the craft was so effortless on this, and this Polyblank from they called The Greatest Living Artist is Dead. Watch this video, please. I know this is like a routine of like, oh, what do you talk about Digest this time? Oh, maybe check that out. No, really, really check this video out, please. Like, I can't believe this. That was so good. That was so good. The low key, it reminded me of Man Mode. And maybe it's the accent, maybe it's the. I think it was really Frank, but no, it was around like when he's talking about Celeste a little bit. There's a sardonic humor. There's a humor to it, but a very astute, very personal. Like he's engaged with this media very directly and personally, and there's an emotion and a very direct message to say here. It's just like peak YouTube for me. It's just like this is right in the sweet spot of what we want. Right in it, like everything about this that you don't get anywhere else. You don't get this on television. You don't get this in anime or whatever. There's an approachability to this video too, with his editing, with his personal delivery. It doesn't feel like I'm a new age YouTuber. I grew up in like 2 generations of YouTube. I know how it's done. I get vibes of that from YouTubers, from some of these YouTubers now. I just get the fact that like some of these thumbs are the same fucking ones, where it's just some guy in the background or whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry, this is a random stray, but like I just don't. The holding the mic, and I've had my fill of those videos, and some people are still really good at it and everything. But like, oh my god, it's kind of homogenous. This is cutting from a similar cloth. And another thing, like, but like, when I say approachability, I mean like, Jacob Geller's great. Don't get me wrong, but like he's too good. I get like, kind of irritated from how like perfect it is, from just like it's all being done in one take. It's all well sourced and like good writing. Like the quotes, not even the quotes or any like these taking from. It's just his own writing. And it's really well like lit, and the filming of it and the editing of it, and if you're a video essayist and you've watched some of his videos, I don't know how you're not pulling your hair out. It's unbelievable, like, but it's overwhelming in that way. This hits the right sweet spot of like, this is something that is accomplishable, you know, but like it's YouTube. Very similar to Geller in terms of like kind of going topic to topic in the same umbrella of an idea, of this idea of a greatest the person being a greatest living artist and legacy and the quote, the repeating of "it's all over" and everything, but with the humor and the style and the inventiveness in the editing and the emotion and the personal connection with this stuff and the outpouring of emotion without being melodramatic about it. And he does talk about anime here. He talks about Eva. One of the artists is Toriyama, which he doesn't really engage with that much, but he kind of links it in various ways. And ends it with like Pancreas and Silent Voice, talking about those. Which the one nitpick I would give this video is like, I do think one of it's in his comment section. Like, all you can see in this comment section is this one section in the middle of the video that is so emotional and devastating in the way that it's edited and presented and told. That is just so oof. It's really oof, and a lot of people were crying to it and everything in the comments. They're like, I cried to this, whatever. That could have been the ending. I think that could have been the last piece. I think with like holding back on how much he loves Silent Voice and calls it his favorite movie, and then it's like, I forget like the lead-in he did to that, where he's setting up how good Silent Voice is, and then leaning that into the arson attack. That's 36 people passed away. I think he could have taken at least a couple steps further and really named some of those people. There's some people it's been, I think it's 2019. It's been 5 years. I think we know a good amount of these people. What did they do on Silent Voice? I hate to be that guy. I really fucking do. It just came off a little bit of a reach. Just a little bit of a reach for me. I completely get where I think it's a fair choice. I think it's a totally good, fair choice. But I can't shake the fact that, like, the author of a Silent Voice, it's based on a manga. He doesn't really mention that they're not KyoAni. The director, fortunately, is still alive and making stuff. The studio, as it is, yes, 36 people, unfortunately, were killed in this awful attack. But they got up, and they are now still making stuff. To say that, like, Silent Voice could not be made again, it's what was it being implied there because of this arson attack? I kind of find that I don't believe that. I get where you're coming from, but that there's a disconnect. There's a gap. It's a reach. Do you know what I mean? I hope that's articulated without me coming off as insensitive or something. I'm really trying not to be, but that was just something that kind of blocked in my mind, that like the real several of the major creatives are still alive, but it doesn't take away from your point. It's just it's a reach is all I'm saying. Really, that was my only complaint though. Everything else, the engagement directly towards the end, like with your viewers and with people you looked up to and collaborated with. I love the like, I even DM'd Jacob Geller. He didn't answer. He didn't respond. Like things like that. Yeah, like this blew my mind. This was so good. Like the handling of this manner in junction with your humor. Crazy good. Crazy good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely watch this one, please. Seriously. Okay, that'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. You guys are great. You have a great 2 weeks, generally. I don't know if I will be here next time. You'll know. I will let you know. You're not just going to see me ghost. Now I'm going to say that, and I'm going to ghost. I will try not to be. All right, you guys are great. You have a great 2 weeks. Yo, peace.